Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we living. Now, a couple weeks back, I did a redraft of the entire 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s, all players that were eligible to be drafted in the NBA in each of those decades. Well, today I'm going to start a different sport. We're going to go with the NFL and look at all the players who were eligible to be drafted in the 1980s, so 1980 to 1989, and put them in a two-round draft, 32 players per round. Um, for time reasons, I'm only going to mention certain things about players in the first round, but I will be naming players 33 through 64. 1 through 32, of course, is first round. 32 teams currently in the NFL, thus why 32 players. So let's get into it. Let me tell you, though, I'm sure there'll be disagreements with the order. The entire first round is players in the Hall of Fame, and about, I'd say, a third of the players in the second round. So this was far from an easy task, but I'll do my best. Let's get it started. The first overall pick in an all um, players eligible to be drafted in the 1980s NFL draft. We'll go with Jerry Rice, who in real life selected 16th overall in 1985. Rice, the all-time leader in a multitude of categories, including receptions, 1,549, receiving yards, 22,895, receiving touchdowns, 197. He won two Super Bowls with the 49ers, twice was named Offensive Player of the Year, and was a 10-time first-team All-Pro. Second, we got the great Lawrence Taylor, taken second overall in 1981. When he was named MVP in 1986, Taylor became only second defensive player behind Alan Page to receive the honors. Nobody else has ever done it since. First time All Pro each of his first 6 seasons, 8 of his first 9, had double digit sacks for 7 straight years from 1984 to 1990. Third, we got John Elway, taken first overall in 1983, named the league's MVP in 1987. Elway led the Broncos back to back Super Bowl victories last 2 seasons, Super Bowl MVP in the second of those, won a stellar 148, 82, and 1 as a starting quarterback, and threw 300 touchdown passes. Fourth, Dan Marino, 27th overall in 1983. In his historic career, Marino led the league in passing yards 5 times, passing touchdowns 3 times, 17-year career all with the Finns. The 1984 MVP totaled 61,361 passing yards and 420 passing touchdowns. Fifth, Reggie White, 1984, fourth overall in the supplemental draft, two-time Defensive Player of the Year, back-to-back 87. Oh, excuse me, 1987, 1998, not back-to-back. White is second on the all-time list with 198 sacks, 15 NFL seasons. He was named Pro Bowler 13 times, first-team All-Pro 8 times, Super Bowl champ with the Packers as well. Sixth, the great Barry Sanders, third overall 1989. If Sanders had played more than 10 seasons, he'd have a case to be even higher. Twice the Offensive Player of the Year, won MVP in 1997, rushed for 99.8 yards per game for his career, second to Jim Brown, and was named a Pro Bowl in every season he played. Seventh, Bruce Smith, first overall 1985, the all time leader in sacks with an even 200. Smith was the 1990 and 1996 Defensive Player of the Year. In 13 of his 19 seasons, he had a double digit sack total with a career high of 19 in 1990. Eighth, Ronnie Lott, taken eighth overall in 1981. One of the hardest hitters in the secondary. Lott won 4 Super Bowls with the 49ers. He was named a Pro Bowler in 10 of his first 11 seasons. His 63 career receptions are tied for the eighth most in league history. Ninth, Anthony Munoz, third overall 1980, 13-year career. Munoz proved to be one of the best offensive linemen the game has ever seen. Named to the Pro Football Hall of Fame All 1980s first team, year 9 first team All Pro nods from 1981 to 1990. 10th, prime time, Deion Sanders, 5th overall 1989, one of the all time great shutdown corners. Sanders was the 1994 Defensive Player of the Year. Back-to-back Super Bowl winner with different teams, 94 with the Niners, 95 with the Cowboys. He intercepted 53 passes and was six-time first-team All-Pro. 11th, Bruce Matthews, 9th overall, 1983. Matthews received 14 Pro Bowl nods in his 19 NFL seasons, all spent with the Oilers Titans franchise, tied for the second most times, only behind Tom Brady, with 3 other players, Merlin Olsen, Tony Gonzalez, and Peyton Manning. 12th, Rod Woodson, taken 10th overall in 1987. In 1993, Woodson was named Defensive Player of the Year. In a year, he intercepted 8 passes. Altogether, a six-time first-team All-Pro, picked off 71, which is third most in league history. 13th, Mike Singletary, 38th overall in 1981. Two-time Defensive Player of the Year, 1985 and 1988. Singletary was named to the Pro Bowl in each of his last 10 seasons. He made the Pro Football Hall of Fame All-1980s first team. Was a major part of some historic Bears defenses, including the one that won the Super Bowl in 1985 season. 14th, Steve Young, first overall in the supplemental draft in 1984. List of accolades for Young includes 2 MVP awards, 1992 and 94, and being the starting quarterback for the 49ers Super Bowl victory in the 1994 season. He led the league in passer rating 6 times and completion percentage 5 different years. 15th, Derek Thomas, 4th overall in 1989, starting his career as the 1989 Defensive Rookie of the Year. Thomas became a feared pass rusher from the get-go. He led the league with 20 sacks in 1990 and accumulated 126.5 over his 11 seasons. 16th, Eric Dickerson, 2nd overall in 1983. It was a magical 1984 season for Dickerson, as his 2,105 rushing yards are still a single season record. That was one of 4 years in which he led the NFL in rushing yards, and he totaled 13,259 for his career. 17th, Randall McDaniel, 19th overall, 1988. Named to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, all 1990s first team. McDaniel missed only 2 games in his 14-year career. Both came in 1989. Named a Pro Bowler 12 times and was a 7-time first team All-Pro. 18th, Chris Dolman, 4th overall, 1985. Only 4 players in NFL history have sacked the quarterback more times than Dolman, who finished his career to 150 and a half. 44 forced fumbles also placed him in a tie for 6th most in league history. 19th, Chris Carter, 4th round, 3rd pick in the supplemental draft in 1987. Carter was named to the Pro Bowl every year from 93 to 2000, a stretch when she averaged 97.4 catches for 1,182 yards and 11.3 touchdowns. Excuse me. His 130 touchdown receptions placed him 4th all time. 20th, Darrell Green, 28th overall, 1983, playing a remarkable 20 seasons, all with the Redskins. Green's 295 appearances are the most by any defensive player. He was a member of 2 Super Bowl winning teams and made 7 Pro Bowls. 21st, Troy Aikman, 1st overall, 1989, the starting quarterback on the dominant Cowboys teams in the 1990s. Aikman helped guide them to 3 Super Bowl wins, Super Bowl MVP of the first, named 6 straight Pro Bowls from 91 to 96. 22nd, Michael Irvin, 11th overall, 1988, on the same 3 Super Bowl championship teams as Aikman. Irvin finished his career with 750 catches for 11,904 yards. His 1,523 receiving yards in 1991 led the league. 23rd, Jim Kelly, 14th overall, 1983. While the Bills were unable to win any, Kelly led the Bills to 4 straight Super Bowls in the 1990 and 93 seasons. First team All-Pro in 1991 when he led the league in touchdown throws and also led in passer rating and completion percentage in 1990. 24th, Ricky Jackson, 51st overall, 1981. Finishing with at least 11 sacks in 6 seasons. Jackson had 128 over his 14-year career, made 6 Pro Bowls, including 4 straight from 83 to 86, and won a Super Bowl with the 49ers in the 1994 season. 25th, Thurman Thomas, 40th overall, 1988. On those same AFC Championship teams as Kelly, Thomas was the MVP in 1991 when he rushed for 1,407 yards and added another 631 at receiving. He went over 1,000-yard rushing mark for 8 straight years from 89 to 96. 26th, Gary Zimmerman, 3rd overall in the 1984 supplemental draft. Zimmerman was one of the game's premier left tackles during his tenure and played in all 16 games in the Niners' 12 seasons. He won a Super Bowl with the Broncos and named to 7 Pro Bowls. 27th, Mike Munchak, 8th overall in 1982. Munchak was named to the Pro Bowl in 9 of his last 10 seasons. Was the first team All-Pro in 87 and 91. He was inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2001. 28th, Tim Brown, 6th overall in 1988. From 93 until 2001, Brown finished each season with at least 76 receptions and 1,012 receiving yards. NFL history, he ranks 7th all-time in both career receptions, 1,094, and receiving yards, 14,934. 29th, Marcus Allen, 10th overall, 1982, the 1985 MVP. Allen was also named the Super Bowl MVP in 1983 season as the Raiders defeated the Redskins. Only Emmitt Smith and LaDainian Tomlinson have scored more times on the ground than Allen, who had 123 rushing touchdowns. 30th, Dermontti Dawson, 44th overall in 1988. Dawson started every game at center for the Steelers for 10 straight years, spanning from 89 to 98. For 6 consecutive seasons from 93 to 98, he was a first team All Pro. 31st, Kevin Greene, 113th overall in 1985, the leader in sacks in both 94 and 96. Greene finished with 160 for his career, which is third most all time. He had a double digit total in that department in 10 of his last 12 seasons. And the last pick of the first round, 32nd, Andre Reed, 86th overall in 1985. The third player on here to be a part of all four Bills' Super Bowl appearances. Reed earned Pro Bowl nods for 7 straight years from 1988 to 94. He ended his career with more than 13,000 receiving yards. So that's the first round. I'll quickly name the second round. So these would be picks 33 to 64 in order. We got Dwight Stevenson, Richard Dent, Howie Long, Art Monk, Andre Tippett, Steve Atwater, Charles Haley, Steve Wisniewski, Sam Mills, Sterling Sharp, Russ Grimm, Roger Craig, Carl Mecklenburg, Kenny Easley, Eric Allen, Pat Swilling, Wilbur Marshall, Lomas Brown, Jimbo Covert, Henry Ellard, Randall Cunningham, Rich Gannon, Neil Smith, Leslie O'Neal, Greg Lloyd, Chris Hinton, Ray Childress, Michael Dean Perry, Gary Clark, Everson Walls, Joe Jacoby, and Cornelius Bennett. Those would be the 2 rounds. Some honorable mentions, so we'll call them third round picks, include Morton Anderson, Jay Hilgenberg, Mark Duper, Mark Clayton, Boomer Esiason, Eugene Robinson, Jesse Tuggle, Ken Norton, Tim McDonald, Henry Thomas, Hardy Nickerson, Andre Rison, Albert Lewis, Joey Browner, Irving Fryer, Nate Newton, Deron Sherry, Jim Everett, Bernie Kosar, Bruce Armstrong, Vinny Testaverde, Carnell Lake, Bill Romanowski, Steve McMichael, Clyde Simmons, Seth Joyner, and many others. So there you have it, a redraft of all NFL players eligible to be drafted in the entire decade of the 1980s. Tough. It definitely took a lot of work to do this. But it was fun to do, and I'll definitely be doing the 90s and 2000s at a later time. I've already done the 80s, 90s, and 2000s in the NBA. Check them out. I'll probably put all these decade redrafts into a playlist, and eventually I'll do the MLB too, so check that out. If you haven't already, check out my NFL Mount Rushmores, doing those daily. I only got 2 teams left. Previously did MLB Mount Rushmores. Check those out as well. And don't forget to hit that subscribe, guys. Really would appreciate it. Again, been putting a lot of work in this. Of course, teaching as well. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.